in the past 3 years, I could not have foreseen that accounting would be such a continuous waste of time and money and stress, and a source of stress. Especially in an age where we already have so many startups working, we have payroll providers, we have things like Stripe Atlas, we have Clerky. But the problem is, the realization at this point is that the reason they are not enough is because at a certain point, at a certain level, at a certain point, what we need is actually knowledge and not more services. There's a point at which it's better for us to acquire the knowledge and understand what's going on at a high level and at a low level, because we've done it a few times, and it actually turns out to be more time efficient. And I have scars to prove it. For example, when there was a time when I first started where I just got my seed investment, and I had to pay myself. So it turns out you can't just transfer money from the company. I can't just transfer it to myself. I need to do it through a payroll provider. And because I messed up the books, I talked to a firm called Pilot. Okay, I think the long story short is they charged me $10,000 for 2 years of accounting and corporate taxes, which is fucking insane. Because the context is I was a solo startup, a solo founder, and my books were as simple as you could get it, you know. So this is the type of, you know, I have some Microsoft subscriptions. They're like 10 transactions each month. So they're charging me like $1,000 to categorize 10 transactions. And the $300 a month, you know, the very generous offer of $300 a month for bookkeeping, which I took because I didn't know any better. And after I signed up, so this was the point at which I signed up, good luck with the email threads, communicating what the expense was really about and giving me more actions that I need to do. For your convenience, please do the things in the portal. Well, what did I pay you $10,000 for, man? So, okay, I hope I established the fact that yes, we need to outsource some stuff, and it was a great decision to use Clerky. So this was good, and it was good to use Gusto, and later Central. Those were good. But it turns out that for bookkeeping and accounting, it's much better to do it. In hindsight, it would have been much better to do it myself, and I would advise for anyone in a similar situation. And moreover, I'll also give so what's the outline of this video? So let me give an outline. So the outline is what I'll talk about. It's basically the big picture. So which is the minimum set of taxes and responsibilities we need to care about. You know, this and then I will go try to give a startup accounting from first principles. Okay. So let me try the big picture so we know how to orient ourselves, and this is a quick win if so in order to, the best thing is having no company. All the sorts of stress came from having to incorporate, and this is a terrible. But the problem is without a company, we cannot receive investment. So we have company needed for receiving investment. Otherwise, avoid creating a company. This is just terrible. Well, I guess for hiring. Okay, and so there are taxes. So what kind of taxes? Well, I think we need to think along two dimensions. The first is there's a state and federal dimension. Well, what's like a good way to think about it? I'm just going to list out all the taxes we need to care about and then sort of give like a reasonable interpretation as to why that sort of covers all our grounds. So we have first Delaware. So we're doing a Delaware C-Corp, which then there's a Delaware franchise tax and annual report. There is the state taxes, unemployment, it's Social Security, there's the federal tax. And then I'll do a special category for the payroll tax. And I think to be honest, we need to preface this with the fact that even though this is not, there are sort of good, reasonable explanations as to why all these taxes need to exist. At a more fundamental level, this is complicated, and it could, bar the political impossibility for the tax code to be reformed so it's much simpler. But this is complicated, and it's ironic given that it's the taxes we pay from a country whose founding was to fight against being taxed by Britain. So why Delaware? Well, okay, so the way to think about this is, okay, what are the state responsibilities and what are the federal responsibilities? Since the United States is, unlike many countries, which is a state and a country, America is formerly independent states, so they sort of act like independent colonies, but in some sense vaguely a nation. I'm being inaccurate here, but the point is, you have to serve two countries. The state is city-state. State actually sort of means a country, which is what I never understood. And then federal is a federation of states. So it's the larger body that governs and has control over the states in order to unite the functions. Okay, forget this explanation. This fucking sucks. So, but the point is, this will cover both grounds. We have obligations to both of these. And so that's why when we register our office in, like, let's say, San Francisco or Boston or Massachusetts, we have to register. So this is a register business. We also have to incorporate. So, and we incorporate this in Delaware. And so there will be a process with clerky. So this is sort of outside of, so I guess this sort of counts as state tax, but somewhat. And then the main filing, so the most important, the most, I guess, intuitive part of company taxes is that we are taxed by revenue of the companies, by how well the company's doing, and that's the famous Form 1120. And it's the main annual thing, the main thing that companies need to file, and this is federal. Now, why is payroll start? Well, because payroll is sort of special in that it, it's instead of paying once annually. So the thing with these other tax categories is that they sort of are paid on an annual basis, but the payroll tax is actually twice a month, and it's deducted automatically. So it's deducted automatically, and it's sort of weird because the employer and the employee tax deducted automatically, auto-deducted. And for both states, and so it feels a bit weird. It's why can't we automatically be charged the state taxes or federal taxes? Well, because those depend on our actual financials, including our, if we have a lot of debts, we're going to pay less tax. But when we make a lot of profit, we're going to make, so the tax, they cannot, the IRS cannot determine how much to charge us unless we have done our financials. However, with payroll tax, which is literally defined as how much, which is actually just defined based on our salaries, they can calculate it immediately instead of moving the money in a roundabout way. Just deduct it at the source and then simplify things. But anyways, in practice, so I'm going to use orange to show sort of the services that handles it. So, for example, Gusto or Central would handle this. Federal taxes is something, you could do. Pilot was a scam for me, but maybe for big startups, you can afford it. But I would not go for them. And Inco is what I use now. And it costs about $350. I think it's $450 to file for Inco, but $1,000 for pilots. Gusto is about $40 a month. Let's be conservative and say about 50. So let's say 550. So we need to pay the service providers. $5. What am $500 a year. And I'm going to convert, for the sake of simplicity, I convert it to years. So this will end up being $600 a year. Okay, state taxes is sort of handled. So this is a little bit blurred. It sort of is. We have to do a separate registration, but helps a little. So this is where boundaries blur a little. So, the providers can't actually handle everything, and there will be certain taxes that require you to manually pay. Or require me to manually pay because they cannot be deducted automatically. Deducted automatically. deducted automatically. And then the franchise tax and annual report. This actually it's a bit scary because they claim you owe them like they always display that I owe them like 400K of taxes, which is just fucking stupid. Because they use like the wrong calculation, and you have to know to use the correct calculation to arrive at the fact that it costs about I think it's $450 or $550, but it's around $500 a year. This is approximate. But it takes about 20 minutes to file. But you need your bank info. You need a lot of info to be well organized. So the upkeep. Oh, and there's a registered agent. So I would actually put it to about 600 because there's that too. So it will end up being about $1,000 a year just to but the key, and this is we need to add the fact that the taxes here are pretty sharp, so 10% to 30%, which comes out to, so when I had a salary of about 24000, I would lose about at least $2,000 a year. So owning a company is it's a lot of recurring expenses. Okay, but really, so in total, so in green, I'm gonna summarize the total spending. So here, total yearly upkeep. Will be about this much. Easily surpasses $5,000 a year, which is a tragedy. By the way, it used to be even more. As you can see from my experience with Pilot, which on its own, just for accounting and bookkeeping. We haven't even talked about bookkeeping. Funnily enough, well, with bookkeeping, you easily it exceeds, assume no bookkeeping, but bookkeeping is easily goes to $200 a month, goes to about $2,400, and Bench, the bookkeeping company, which is the cheapest, shut down. So we really need to do our own bookkeeping. So